Of ongoing education and training, we help others to face new challenges. We want people to be at the heart of everything. That is why we care about safe food and make sure that there is a good feeling around the dining table. Our life is already exciting enough. When it comes to what we eat, we should be able to have confidence in the origin and quality of our food, so that it is not only mass but class that counts. We continuously carry out tests for healthy nutrition free from harmful substances. We have good relations with guardian angels. To ensure that mobility will remain safe, we look closely at all vehicles, whether car, truck, ship or train. With an objective outside viewpoint, we take responsibility for technology, the environment, and especially for humans. Our whole life is mobile, and that is a good thing, as long as it's safe. And environmentally friendly. We want to know how mobility will work in the future, and how new ideas will become suitable for everyday use. We love to set things in motion, so that both goods and people arrive at their destination safely. And we search for solutions for the metropolises of the future, to improve the infrastructure and reduce environmental impact. We are a midwife for the really big ideas. We are aware of the pitfalls and know what secrets are hidden deep inside the earth. Our specialists look far beyond the surface. This allows companies to operate successfully and sustainably. We are where you need us. Everywhere, both on and under the earth. We give a jump start to people to reach for the stars, so that technology doesn't put a spanner in the works when we want to learn from the universe. We make sure that information finds its way to us safely and reliably. Even if it goes all around the world. We search for tasks that challenge us and solutions that change our lives. And our curiosity remains. That is what drives us. For a safe future and a better world.
The MDD, the Medical Device Directive, has been replaced by the MDR, the Medical Device Regulation. What exactly does this mean for you and your company? With the MDR, a new and more stringent system for monitoring market access comes into force. It ensures that medical devices are safe, effective, and can be better traced. Manufacturers therefore need to reassess their medical devices according to the MDR, or have them assessed by a notified body. Only then can they continue to sell them in EU countries. As a notified body, we are happy to carry out the necessary conformity assessment for you and your device in accordance with the MDR. What has changed, and what should be taken into account? The MDR contains some changes. This includes enhanced requirements in respect of safety and effectiveness. Post-market surveillance procedures must be put in place and continuous clinical monitoring established. This means technical documentation must be updated accordingly. However, your medical device needs to qualify as a medical device before you submit the technical documentation. Medical devices that have previously been certified also need to be reclassified. Stricter clinical evidence needs to be provided for Class 3 medical devices and implantable devices. All economic operators must register in the EUDAMED database. Information on certified devices and incidents must also be added later on. To comply with these requirements, you must appoint a qualified person who will ensure that all regulatory requirements are met. The devices must be marked with a unique identification number that can be automatically captured. This enables better traceability and transparency in the market. Important: there is no exemption for medical devices already certified according to the MDD. All devices must be reassessed. Remember that there are transitional periods for authorization in accordance with the MDR. What role does TÜV Nord play? As part of audits, our auditors assess whether your documents and processes comply with the new quality management requirements. Our product experts and clinical specialists determine whether your technical documentation meets all of the requirements of the MDR. TÜV Nord supports you with your conformity assessment, and as the manufacturer, you will receive all necessary EU certificates upon successful completion.
Sie sind doch
Zu spät, ich weiß. Oder zu früh?
Überfällig, würde ich sagen.
Großer Gott, der Fluxkondensator muss eine Raumzeitverschiebung verursacht haben.
Dann nur keine Zeit verlieren.
HU-Adapter. Interessant.
In unserem Job müssen wir vor allem eins mitbringen: Neugier. Schauen wir mal, wie unsere Zukunft aussieht.
Nein! Halt! Stopp! Wo fahren Sie hin? Oh!
Das ist sie also, die Zukunft. Die Technik entwickelt sich immer weiter, aber Sicherheit bleibt unsere wichtigste Aufgabe. Wir lernen jeden Tag dazu. Mit Leidenschaft. Wir brennen dafür, komplexe Systeme zu analysieren, jedes Detail genau zu prüfen. Manche halten uns für penibel, aber das ist unser Job. Denn wir sorgen dafür, dass die Menschen der Technik vertrauen können. Und dabei sind wir auf vielen Gebieten unterwegs, um die Welt sicherer zu machen. Warum wir das können? Eine lange Geschichte. Aber zurück in die Zukunft. Die Welt entwickelt sich immer weiter. Und wir kennen uns aus mit intelligenten Systemen. Sie erleichtern uns das Leben und unsere Arbeit. Wir sind immer im Einsatz. Wir schützen Anlagen und Netzwerke vor Cyberattacken. Dabei können selbst die kleinsten Kniffe Großes bewirken. Egal, wo wir gebraucht werden. Kein Weg ist uns zu weit. Mit diesem Wissen sind wir bereit für die Zukunft.
Grundgültiger! Wo sind Sie gewesen?
Ich sag mal so, der ist in 100 Jahren noch sicher.
Großer Gott, niemand darf so weit in die Zukunft blicken. Oh, das ist...
Ich schaue gar nicht so weit in die Zukunft. Nur 2 Jahre und dann nicht wieder zu spät.
Zu spät? Wer seiner Zeit voraus ist nie zu spät.
Sag mal, hat das denn schon gebootet?
Oh, da kennt sich aber einer aus. Natürlich hat er schon gebootet.
Vorsichtig, bloß keinen falschen Knopf drücken.
Herr Jürgen, in der Zukunft ist alles intuitiv bedienbar.
Ja, super. Wie kommen wir jetzt wieder zurück? Beamen vielleicht?
Ich hab's. Wir bleiben einfach in der Zukunft.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? If you all can hear me, can you put some reaction or thumbs up so that I know everybody can hear me? All right, I see some raised hand over there. All right. Okay, so it's already 10:30 a.m. in Singapore, I think 9:30 in Vietnam and Indonesia. So let's start our webinar. Okay, once again, a very good morning, everyone, and a very welcome to the ISO 27017 and 27018 webinar of TÜV Singapore. My name is No, and I'll be your host for the webinar. But before we start the webinar, I just would like to go through some house rules and reminders. So please keep your microphone muted throughout the webinar. And if you have any questions during the webinar, please put in the chat and we will address it at the end of the webinar. Due to time constraint, we'll only be addressing 2 to 3 questions. And registration link for the webinar, so that you can get the certificate, will be shared during the webinar. And please provide your contact detail so that we can send you the certificate at a later time. And the slide shared during the webinar will be sent to the participant also at a later time. So this webinar is being recorded for the usage of TÜV Singapore. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce Mr. Ha, the lead auditor for ISO 27001, 27017, and 27018, and speaker of the day. Mr. Ha, please.
Hello, everyone. So let me start. Let me share my screen. Okay, hello. So hello everyone today. So thank you for joining our free webinar today about the information security on cloud environment according to the IEC 27017 on the version of 2015 and the ISO of IEC on 27018 on the version of 2019. Okay, so today we will talk about the current agenda like this one. We go through the cloud computing service, some trends, some information security needs. Okay, and I have some introduction very briefly about the ISO 27017 and 27018, and I talk about some risk management in the cloud service, and also I have some information about the certificate service related to the standard that we are talking about. So, and some question and answer in the final. So as you can see in the current trends, after the COVID 2 or 3 years ago, so many company and or maybe organizations that has been rapidly moved the workload to the centralized data center. So from the centralized data center, like from on-premise to the cloud, okay, with the very new technologies such as serverless, or maybe they use container, or maybe machine learning, AI, so to benefit from increasing efficiency, better on the scalability, and faster deployment from the cloud. Okay, so the more rapidly, the more this digitalization happens. So cloud security concern is remain high as adoptions. Okay, and also the public cloud computing uses continue to increase, especially during the COVID-19 period, and we can last from the beginning from the 2020 until now. Okay, followed by a rapid shift move remote working. We have to work from home a lot, right? Like 2 or 3 years ago, even some right now, some people, some countries still have to work from home. Okay, and learning environment. Okay, so just a short introduction about me. So I'm the Hoàng Hà from Tupnot. So I am a senior and a lead auditor. So for the ISO 27001, for the 27017 and 18, also I am the lead auditor of the ISO 9000, 2000301, and about 20,000. Okay, and also about the TSAS. Okay, so mostly I will auditor of the all the IT management system related all the standard. Okay, so let's talk about the cloud computing service, some trends, some information security needs. So first, I would like to have a simple question for you. So, do you use cloud? How many cloud services are you using? So you can use the chat box, and can share a little bit your info about what kind of cloud service you are using. Like you use Google Drive or iCloud on the iPhone, or maybe OneDrive is also a kind of public cloud, or maybe you have some private cloud. So hello, okay, true.
Yes, I think these days all of us uses cloud, right? So maybe if the audience can participate and say like Mr. Hart mentioned, it could be Dropbox, it could be Google Drive, or sometimes more high-end like AWS, Amazon Web Services, or Microsoft Azure. So if you're using any of it, maybe you can just put it in the chat like how many you're using.
Okay. It seems there's nobody using cloud right now. Current trend, everybody move to cloud. Even me, I move my work to cloud. Every work I step in OneDrive and Google Drive every day. So just in case that if I have some ransomware attacking, so I still can keep my my data safely. And also, if even I have lost my laptop, okay, so I still have some backup. So are you still saving your file to your hard drive? Okay. Okay, so maybe I should move on. Okay. Okay, so what is cloud? What is cloud? So following the NIST as a National Institute of Standard and Technology defines that cloud computing cloud computing is utility network model. It's cloud computing network model, so that has the ability to access the share pool of resource, pool of computing resource, such as there's a share of network, share of server, share of storage, share of applications, or maybe share of service. Okay, so you can quickly provision computer or maybe a server. It's very fast, and also it's free up the resource without any requiring multiple step or intervention from a service provider. So like service providers just give you an interface, then you can create a machine, create a server, or maybe create an application with some click, and you pay the money, pay as you go. Okay, so there is the five characteristics about the cloud server. So firstly, it's about the on-demand service, on-demand self-service. Okay, so self-service here means the customer is allow you to customer is allowed from service provider can manage their own service without the help of the IT department or maybe even the hosting provider. And I say every customer or every user can download the app and upload some file to OneDrive very easily. No need to support from the service provider, or maybe you can create even the website, or maybe you can create the application. You create the server with some click on the Amazon web service. It's very simple. And also there is a broad network access, which means it's a very wide network access. Is very wide. So you can see the cloud service can need to be accessed through the normal network technology. It can be accessed in everywhere. Okay, and also is share resource pooling, which means the service is running in data center of the service provider. It's use share infrastructure with many customers, many different customers. Like they have the very strong server, so they can use that to share to many customers on the same server. Okay, and there is a things that about the optimal server on utilizations, which means it's very the ability that cloud service can be easily scale according to demands. Like service must be scaled up and down according to the needs. Like in traditional way, you have a server, you have about 60 gig of RAM, you have a limit of the hard driver or maybe a CPU, and if you need to buy more RAM for or maybe upgrade your system, so maybe you have to go to the computer shop, or maybe you go to Amazon, you go to somewhere, you order it, and you ask your IT guys to install it into your server. But with cloud, you just need to click, just few more click, and give your payment, then your system will be upgraded easily, immediately. And also the cloud service can be measured. So I believe the cloud service can be optimized. Is optimized for the server utilization. So it's based on the customer needs, on customer traffic, and also the they will be monitoring on 27 on whole day, a whole week, every day, every year, every month. So it will be regularly reported to you, to the customer. Okay, so on the cloud computing, there is two kind of model. First one is deployment model, and also it's about service model. So in deployment models, there is three kind of cloud service. First one is public cloud, second is hybrid cloud, and third is private cloud. And also we have some service model, which is infrastructure as a service, IaaS, and also the platform as a service, PaaS, and also the software as a service is SaaS. Okay. So during the seminar, if you have any questions, so just keep put in the chat box, and I will explain it later in the QA session. Okay. Okay, so about the cloud computing, I explaining there is some three kind of model, and also in the current trend is 2022. So there is a new service deployments, which is you can see the IIS, you can see the Amazon Web Service EC2, or this Ocean Rackspace, or maybe Virtual is allow you to create a server, the cloud server, very easily with few more click. Okay, and also we have the platform as a service, which is the PaaS. You have a Heroku, you have a Salesforce for the sales management, and also for the PaaS, this one is a new trend recently, is which means about the back end as a service. Okay, so you have the Google Firebase, you have the SkyGear, you have the base server, very famous one, and also you have a software as a service. So which means you have the Zendesk, you have the PayPal, even the Facebook, Netflix. Yeah, okay. So that one is a very famous platform for the software as a service. Okay. So what is as a service? Okay. So it's very easy to see that there is a three concept of the or as a service in the box. So to learn them, we need to understand what the as a service is first. Okay. So what is as a service? So roughly is translated, so it can be said it's providing a service. The service here can be understood as a service available when you need it or you have to pay. For example, like you go into restaurants, right? So you can call that is food as a service, or maybe you take a taxi or Grab. So we can say this is transport as a service. Whenever you need it, whenever you pay for it, that you have it. Okay. So to explain the IaaS here, or PaaS, or maybe PaaS and SaaS in the popular ways. So whenever you understand, you will immediately guess that there is a difference between these three or four concepts. Okay, so what is the infrastructure as a service? You can see here. So there's another company, like maybe a cloud service provider, Amazon Web Service, DigitalOcean. Okay, so we list you a infrastructure, including a server, including a hard driver, including a network. Then you can install on that whatever you want. You can install application data, some runtime, and some middleware, even the OS, Windows 10, Windows 11, or maybe some Ubuntu Linux machines. Okay, so as you can see, the red here is will be managed by the service provider. It's the different, like all these three here is on cloud. This one is on site. You manage everything. So this is some kind of service model. So you share the responsibility between the service provider and you as a user. Okay. So for the infrastructure, so you just manage something on here, and service provider will have you manage the virtualization. You have you manage the server, about storage, networking. You don't have to do anything. Okay, you just need to manage this one. And also for the platform as service, so you can see the red one is more, which means the service provider will take care for you better, more. So you just need to manage the application and data right now. So what is the platform as service? So the provider here will take care for you from the OS, like the Windows, Linux, or maybe a runtime like a Docker, like Java. So you just need to put the code on the platform as service and run it. You don't need to care anything. Just put your application, put your data on the platform as service. And also for the final one, as a software as a service, you can see you just need to use. You don't need to manage everything, because the service provider will have you manage everything in here. Okay, so like software as a service is provide software as a service. Is very okay. So user maybe pay the monthly line rental. So Gmail is free, right? Or maybe or Dropbox or Salesforce, but free they have some limitation. So maybe you need to pay extra money, like buy a subscription for Dropbox. See, Dropbox is normally for free users, just 2 GB, right? It's very small. Google Drive has more like 15 gigabytes. Share it in the photo, Gmail, Drive, all the service of the Google. So you some people still have to buy extra storage because we want more space on cloud, right? So in here, users need to register the account, and you can use this normally. No need to have from IT or maybe to support from the even Google. But sometimes when you have the incident or maybe you have some real problem, then you can contact them. Okay. Okay. So just to sum up the difference here on Premier, on-prem, on-site, you mean you take care of everything. And for the all three model of the clouds, and you can take which means the service provider can be take care of everything with you, or maybe you share the responsibility between them. Okay, so what is the benefit of cloud computing? First, I can see there is effective cooperation between cloud service provider and the customer, and also is to help you reduce the IT costs. You don't have to buy a server, you don't have to rent the IT guys sitting over there whole day to just manage the whole server, or maybe you don't have to set up the whole data center room. Okay, and it's have ability to access the automatic updates, like all the service, all the server will be keep to up to date every day, so you don't have to worry about that. And so it's about scalability, like you can add more RAM, add more strength, add more capacity to your system very easily. And also about flexibility in doing work, like you can access that cloud server everywhere, from your home, from your different country, from anywhere, or maybe. Okay, so I have another question. So hopefully people can you can have an answer right now. So what are the cloud service you or maybe your company is using? Like we have the Amazon Web Service, we have Google, Oracle, IBM, Alibaba Cloud, or maybe Microsoft. So can you help me put in the chat box what kind of service that you are using right now? So you can see the chat icon right under your Zoom application. So maybe you just move your mouse to down a little bit. Yeah, okay. Thank you. You're using OneDrive. I am using OneDrive too. So how about the other? Anybody use the Amazon Web Service or Voucher, or maybe Digital Oceans? Anybody use Oracle? Okay, there's one using iOS. Okay, very good. Okay, GCP also. Okay, Google Cloud Platform. Okay. Anyone? Good, right? Yeah, Good, right? Is very popular. It's free to everyone. Okay, and anyone else? GitHub, yeah, okay. It's somewhere you just can storing the code. Salesforce, yeah, okay. That is software and the service, very famous one. GitLab, yeah, GitLab, so okay. GitLab allow you to can install on-prem, or maybe you can use their own solution for the cloud service. Okay. Okay, so following there is a report about the cloud security, cloud computing security. that they conduct every year. So this one is from the cloud security report in 2022. So there is a bunch of organization, or maybe the company, or maybe the person asked about what cloud service you are using. So guess what? The Microsoft is take over 72%. Okay, and Amazon Web Service is right behind, about 69%. And also Google Cloud is about 33% of people of company organization using the service. So this one can be called as the top 3 of the cloud service provider. And also right behind you have the Oracle, you have the IBM, the Rackspace, Alibaba Cloud is also the trending right now. Okay. So next question I like to ask from you, that how do you concern about your cloud security that your company is using? Okay, so like you can answer like very concerning, or extremely concerned, or moderately concerned, or maybe slightly concerned, or maybe not concerned at all. So do you, a simple question, do you concern about your cloud security that you or maybe your company is using? Maybe just yes or no. Yep. Thank you. Okay. So it seems okay. On configuration, yes. Maybe some configuration maybe have some mistake. Yeah, right. Anyone else? Okay. So okay, concern security. Yeah. Okay, so let me share to you the result from the report that there's 72% of organizations are extremely too very concerned about cloud security. Okay, the more cloud security is, so the more concerned about the cloud security nowadays. Okay, so the question is, how do you confidence? How is your confidence about your company's cloud security? So are you confident on your configuration, or are you confident about the security that you're using right now for your cloud service? Like, do you have the two-factor setup for the cloud service, or maybe you have the some encryption, some backup restores, maybe some contract agreement between the service provider and customer, between you and provider, or maybe you just need to register and use and don't care about the term and use. Yeah, somewhat confident. Okay, so there is a 52% of our company is are moderately confident about the cloud security posture. Okay, so you can see about this only very small amount, that 6% of our company is very extremely confident, until 22%. So it's very confident, and so yeah, there's a 52% somewhat confident, some is not. Okay. So have you ever got any information security issue in the cloud service? So have you ever? Like you have your data leak from the cloud service, or maybe you have hacking, or maybe you already got some DDoS on the cloud web service. Any information security issue from the small to last one. Okay. Yeah, recently the MS Team is down. Yeah, it's down for whole morning, right? And sometimes Google Driver is down too. Down in some country. And sometimes sometimes Facebook is down too. Okay. Okay. So for the records, the 27 companies say yes, they have a security issue, and there is 73% left say no, they never have any information security issue when they move to cloud. Okay. So since you have a lot of security matter in the cloud service, so I let me introduce about the ISO 27017 and ISO 27018. Okay, so this one is information security management. Okay, so let me explain about a little bit between the requirement and the guidance. So what is the requirement? What is guidance? Okay, as you can see here, we have the ISO 27001 is a version of 2018, 2013. Okay, this is very long time ago, and they are going to release a new version 2022 in this September, in the end of this September. Okay, so this one is the main one, the management system. The title is Information Security Management System, and this is a requirement. It tells you what you need to do. Okay, so also in the 27,000 family, they have different standard, different one. So one of these here is the guidance, is a code of practice. Okay, like for compared to 2701, we will have a 2702. Last day latest is in 2017. So this one is a code of practice for information security control. So in this one, they have about 114 control. So in this one, they will have some code of practice implementation guidance. Okay, so they will tell you what you need to do, what is the best practice for this control can be implemented. Okay, so also about the 27017. Okay, so this one is called the practice for information security. It's based on the 2702, and has been designed especially for the cloud service. Okay, so it's the extent of 2702. And also we have the ISO 27018. The latest version is 2019. Okay, so we have the code practice, that is code practice for the protection of PII. PII here is stand for the personal identifying information. It's only is the public cloud, and it's acting as a PR when the public cloud provider is acting as a PII processors. Okay, so we have the requirement tell you what to do, and we have the guidance tell you how to do, how to implement the management system. Okay. Yeah, 2702 has been published in the first beginning of year. Yeah. Yeah. Not sure yet, but right now the 2701 is a version 2022 will be released in this September as a latest news that we got right now. Okay. So for this one, is any revise? So we have to wait from ISO. There is no official news yet. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Also, about the requirement and guidance, you can see here the management system requirement is tell you what to do. Like for example, about A.8.2.2, that's about labeling of information. Okay, so you tell it tell you a control you what you need to do to implement what you need to accomplish to implement to finish you to use control. What is the requirements? Okay. Also in the 2702, there's some code of practice. Okay, so it's tell you also mentioned about the control. It have some implementation guidance and also some other information that may be useful to someone. Okay, so this is structure of 2702. Okay, so just remember 2702 of this version 2017 is only applicable to the this version 13 of 2701. Okay, for the revision of 2022 of 2701 or maybe 2702, so it will work together. So please don't take the guidance from the 2702 2022 to use with the 2701 of 2013. Okay, that's different. Okay, so let me talk about the first one, the 27017. It's the information security control of the for the cloud service. Okay, so firstly, you must have the 2701 information system. It has been implemented first. Maybe you have get a certified from to not first. Okay, then you can have an extension to the 27017, which is our cloud service security right here. So in this standard, they divide for the two kind of subject. Okay, first one is there is some control related to the cloud service customer, which is the CSC, and also there's some cloud control that related to the cloud service provider, which is CSP. Okay, so there are 23 control for the 33 control for the cloud service customer. It has been extended. It's the extension control from 2702. And also for cloud service customer, it's provide 5 additional new control for cloud service. And also you can see here as a cloud service provider, we have a 30 or 31 control. It's an extension control from 2702 or maybe 2701. And also we have a 7 new control for cloud service provider. So the basically is the 2701 is just the risk management about related to the information securities. Okay, so it's not kind of a seal proof that when you apply the 2701, then you will never get hacked, or maybe you will never get any security issues. Okay, so it's help you to reduce the effective from the information security incident, or maybe you have some countermeasure. Okay, like about the INXA of 2701, and for the cloud service securities, and you have the new different control from extension or new control. Okay, so you can merge this one from 27017 to the SOA, to a statement of applicability, because for 2701 you have to produce the SOA right here, SOA, which means to tell the whole world that okay, what kind of control that you are using for your information security. Okay, so this one is the extensions, so you can put it to SOA. Okay, so is there anyone here already certified with the 2701? Is there community here? Can you put in the chat box with the yes or no? So anyone already have the ISMS implemented and certified? Maybe from DoNot or maybe another CB. Okay, no one. So another question that is there anyone here is a cloud service provider? Or anyone here is a cloud service customer? I think everyone here is a cloud service customer. So is there anyone here is cloud service provider? Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Ming. Mr. Ming. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so well, about the 27017, there is some abbreviations. About there is only 6 abbreviations. Okay, so you have the about the IaaS at the infrastructure as a service, the PaaS at the platform as a service, and also PII, as I already explained about the personal identifying information. And also we have the SaaS, which is a software as a service, and we also have some abbreviation about SLA, similar level agreements, and about the VM virtual machine. I think this term is very popular. It's popular for everyone. Okay, so about the structure of 27017. Okay, so it's not going to repeat all the control in the ISO IEC 27002. Okay, so there is 3 types of control right here. First one is a separate control for customer and a cloud service provider. So there is a different requirement, different guidance for the cloud service customer, and there is different requirement and implementation guidance for cloud service provider. Okay, customer and provider is different. And also the second type here is a guideline for both customer and the provider and supplier. It is the same guideline. Okay, and says some requirement that says some control that is already have some requirement for customer, or maybe it have only the requirements for provider. Okay, so this one is 2 types of instruction for implementations. Okay, and also it's the express group control measurement. Measurement is appendix A. So this one is the new extensive control. Okay, so I have the table here. So you can see this one is belong to some domain is a 2702. First, starting from information security. So in here is a comparison about the 27017. Okay, so in here for the cloud service customer, you will have like information security, and you had one clause is the extend, it's an extension. Okay, about access control, you have a 5 extension of the cloud service for the cloud service customer, and also you have the 2 second news as the second 2 news control for the cloud service customer. This one for me, for example, for the cloud service provider here. So you will have a lot of control, which is an extension for 2702. You can see here operation security. You have the supplier relationships. It's also the extension, and also for the cloud service provider, you have maybe small amount of new control. Okay, like human resource security, they have a new control about the organization of information security. So there's new control, or maybe in the access control here, they have a new control for cloud service provider. Okay, so this one is summary of the new control. Okay, so I will give you some example about the 27017 control. So as you can see here, for example, on the 2701 or 2702, there is a control code 8.2.2, which is the labeling of information. Okay, so you can see here the control 8.2.2 and associate implementation guidance and other information has been specified in the ISO 2702 apply. Okay, so this one you will have the requirement from the 2702. You have to check on that. Okay, so also they give you extensions. The following sectors specific guidance also apply. Okay, so there is the implementation guidance for cloud service. Okay, so in here they have the table. There is this one is a Taiwan requirement. There is a different requirement for customer and provider also. So as you can see here, it said the cloud service customer should label information and associate assessment in cloud computing. Like you can should label a name or something to recognize that what kind of the cloud service access has been that you are using on the cloud service provider. Okay. And also for the cloud service provider, it's not that the cloud service provider have to have some documentation, or maybe some support, some help website, or maybe the help desk, and it will disclose any service functionality that allow customer can label the information to classify and label the information and associate access. Okay, so which means cloud service provider have to provide the functionality, allow them to label the access and documentation for them, and also cloud service customer have to label the information. It depends on the cloud service provider function. Okay, so sometimes from cloud service provider you can look at the requirement on the customer and do and implement it on the system. Okay, and sometimes cloud service customer can look at the what the requirement provider. Then you can ask if any provider that don't have this function, so you can ask. Okay, they can ask about that function in your cloud service provider. Okay, and also there is a new control here. So you can see here there is some new control is the Annex A. In the 2701, you have an Annex A with a 114 control. Also, in 27017, you also have an Annex A. This is a cloud service extend control set. Okay, so you can see here is a CLD 631 8.1 about the removal cloud service customer access, about the virtual machine hardening, about the monitoring of cloud service, or maybe allow a share role and responsibility within the cloud computing environment. Okay, so this one is a cloud service extend control set. You can see here. Okay, so what is the benefit when you apply this one? Okay, so there is some benefits here for both cloud service provider and for the customer. First is provide a comprehensive report, the ISMS framework for cloud service provider who want to increase the assurance on the insecurity based on the cloud service provider operations and based on the customer information. Okay, so so many famous cloud service provider already have the ISO 27017 certified. Amazon Web Service, Google, Dropbox. Yeah. So many famous one. Okay, and also it's provided external assurance to customer that information belong to customer will be processed in the cloud by the cloud service provider is secure. Okay, And also it's provide a comprehensive information security management framework, ISMS, for the cloud service customer also. In doing that, it holds their provider to account. Okay, and also it helps reduce the risk. Of course, it has some control to reduce the risk to a security breach, and also it's the extension and certificate to the client of ISO 27001. Okay, so like you already have the certificate of 27001, you can have an extension on this 27017. So it's create more trust. Okay, so for the cloud service customer, what is the benefit? First one is create trust is a partner. Is a partner that like they have the ISMS. They also have some control implemented countermeasure for specific for the cloud service. Okay, or maybe they can they have a combined thinking. They have with the idea with the supplier, and it's help you to protect your business from disruption when you're using cloud service. And also the ISO 27007 is identified as common. Common is also is widely accepted methods. Is applied is accepted on over the world. Everybody so whenever you have the certificates, then it's the best way that you can prove to your partner or maybe your customer, another customer, your customer that okay, you had the certified of ISMS, you have the certified of the information security system. Also, you have some countermeasure has been implemented following the 27017. Okay. And for the provider, there is a guided to 44 control measures. So you can see here additional guidance on it's the extension, 33 extension from the 27002. And they give you this one give you instruction for 7 new control. It's a sector specific to the cloud service. And also for the provider, it's the effectively design and implement cloud information security control. And also it's provide a peace of mind to customer and a stakeholder. Because you have a 27017, people can believe in you. And also you can protect a brand reputation, or even the OEC one, your reputation of a brand would be higher. Okay, and also you can protection against a possibility of breaking your law, some legal problem. Okay, so that is instruction on the 27017. Is some benefit and overview. Okay. I'm not going to go into detail right here because we don't have enough time. Okay. The second one here is I talk about the ISO 27018. It's acting as a PII processor. Okay. So 27018 is also an extension control for cloud service, but it's for the processor cloud privacy for the only cloud service provider. Okay, but it's not for every cloud service provider. It's only for the cloud service provider, which have the function of processor of PII, personal identify informations. Okay, so this one, sorry for the title here. This one is 27018. You can see here. It's a processor of cloud privacy. So it's also an extension of 27001. Similar to 27017. This one, 27018, is also an extension of 27001. Okay. Then they have some extended control, also have some extended control in 27002. Totally is 16 control related to a PII processor, and also it's provide the new control. Okay, it's about 13 security control related to the PII and the health privacy control related to the PII. And all this one also you can put it to the SOA of the 2701. So you can announce to the world, announce to your customer, your stakeholder, your partners that okay, extension from the 2701. I also have some countermeasure, some control apply based on the 27018 in my on my SOA, so you can check. Okay, so what is this standard intended use 27018? Okay, so first one here you can see the controller. Controller is the mean it means the mean and purpose of the processing personal data. And the processor here is, which means it's process the personal data on behalf of the controller. Okay, so who can use this standard? Who can use this 27018? Okay, so in the standard, they already have some information here. So the intention of this document, which is 27018, is when used in conjunction with the information security objective and control from 2702. So create a common set of security category and controls that can be implemented for public cloud computing service provider when they acting as a PII processor, which means the PII processor is managed by the public cloud service provider, or maybe the PII processor is processed, or maybe it's controlled by the public cloud service provider. Okay, so this one is not for the processor who using public cloud service. Okay, okay, so there is some control selections based on the 2718. Okay, like to the business, there is some example here. Okay, so as I told you, there is some three main model about the service. You have the software as a service, you have the platform as a service, you have the infrastructure as a service right here, right? So for example, software service, Google Doc, Office 365, right now is a Microsoft 365. You have the Facebook, you have Salesforce. This one the end user app or office automation, and this one have the PII. Facebook have a lot of your PII. What is a PII? What is a PII? Personal identifying information, right? Your name, your email, your phone number, right? Your address, even your picture. It's all the PII. Okay, and also, do you think your location, your GPS location is your PII? Can you put in the chat box? Your location, your GPS location, is that your PII? Please put in the chat box your answer, just yes or no. It's simple. Yes, but sometimes your cloud, your GPS is also your personal information system, information. Okay, and also your credit card is also the PII. Your credit card number, your number, your expiry date, your CVV is also personal. It's also a PII. Okay, so this one software as a service user, Google Doc, Office 365, this one, or even the Salesforce is your PII. They have some your PII. Okay, so on the PaaS, it's always the up runtime environment for the dev, for development and data processing platform. For example, Azure, Microsoft Azure, the Hadoop, or maybe a Google App Engine. Okay, so this one is also on the platform as service, and some is may have your PII. Okay, and even the infrastructure as service right here, virtual server, storage, networking. Okay, they have like for example Amazon, S3, RightScale, vCloud, all here. Sometimes they have the PII. Okay, so the 2701 or maybe 2718 is about the criteria for the risk acceptance and also the risk treatment options. Okay, for some risk, you can have the criteria for risk acceptance, like you can give some number, some point, some grade, like maybe if the risk calculation is 10, then you have to treat the risk, or maybe the risk calculation is 5 or maybe below 5, then you can offset the risk because the risk level is low. If risk level is medium or high, then you need to treat the risk. Okay, so 27018 gives you the risk treatment options by some control. So you can select some control based on the type that you are using on the cloud. Okay, or maybe you have some contract agreements, you have the national international negotiations, and also you have some depend on the provider role in the cloud service computing architecture when processing controller PII. Okay, so for example, like every provider they have the ID system, right? It have you for the username, your email, your password, even your age, your birthday, address, your credit number. Okay, so every service provider need to protect that your more information. Okay, so for the extended control here, so we will have about 2702, like we have this domain right here. So you can see here for 27018, they have some extendment. For example, for PowerPoint 4.2 about protection of log information. So this one related to operation security right here, I.12 in the 2701. So this one, they said that the PowerPoint 4.2 and the associated information guidance, it has been specified in the 2701, and this requirement implementation guidance in the 2701 is applied. Okay, so if you apply the 27018 for your system, for your ISMS, you also need to check the requirement, your guidance from the 27002 too. Okay, so make sure you are satisfied, you are satisfied with the 27002. Okay, so for the public cloud PII protection specific, so they will give you an implementation guidance. So it say here the log information recorded for the purpose such as the security monitoring. They have the operation diagnostic, okay, that which can contain the PII. So there's some measures such as the control access, about the access control access in the 9.2.3 should be put in place to ensure that log information is only used for its intended purpose. So the simple is, if the log information is collected by the service provider, and if that log it has some of your PII, then they need to have some controlling access. It's only accessible by the by someone, maybe by the boss, or maybe by the people who collect that log. It's not going to allow to available to everyone. Okay, And also it's asked you to establish the procedure. Preferably it's automatic, so it should be put in place to ensure that the locker information is deleted when it's in a specified and document periods. Like it should be deleted when they finish usage. Okay, it should not be uploaded to any another cloud service storage, or maybe copied to anyone else. Okay, so like they just need to analyze the log or that contain some of your PII just in 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, that log happy to delete it no matter what. Okay, so for example, for the 18.2.1, sorry, the text is here is kind of small, but hopefully you can see it. Okay, so it's also have some control is applied from 80.2.1 here. Okay, so for the public cloud protection, there is some implementation guidance. Okay, so in here, in case when individual cloud service customer audit are impractical, or maybe it can increase the risk to security. Okay, the PII processor should make available protected cloud service customer prior to enter the info, or maybe for the duration, or maybe during the contract, or independent evidence that information security implemented and operate in accordance to the public cloud's PI processor policy and procedure. Okay, and there is a relevant independent audit is selected by public cloud, so which means you can select a Kubernetes for use to or maybe another company like to perform your independent reviews of your information security that's related to the PII. Okay, so for the public cloud, okay, and also it's have to provide a sufficient transparency to the customer. Okay, so this is the sample of the extension control from 2702. Okay. Also, there is the Annex A for private control. You can see here it's a new control for the PII in the 2718. So, and you can see here there's some 8.2.3.4 about the collection limitations, about the concept of choice, about the use or retention disclosure limitation, about the PII, recording of PII. They have the accuracy and quality of PII. They have the openness, transparency, and notice. Okay, so in this one, you will have, for example, 8.2.1 is about the obligation of corporates regarding to PII principal rights. Okay, about this control, this one is been explained about what is this control is about what is about the requirement. So it here is said the public cloud PII processor have to provide the cloud service customer with a means to enable them to fulfill their obligation to facilitate the exercise of PII principal rights that allow them to access or maybe correct or maybe erase PII pertaining to them. Okay, and now then you will have the implementation guidance here. So which means it's that here the PII control obligation in respect can be defined by law, maybe by regulations, or maybe by contract. Okay, this obligation can be included in the matter where the cloud service customer is the service of the public cloud PII processor for implementation. For example, like this can be included for the correction and deletion of the PII in a timely fashion, like whenever a customer leaves the cloud service. Okay, leave the cloud service, and this should be that then should be corrected. It should be deleted or maybe from the public cloud storage. Okay, or maybe there's 8.5.1 related to here about that data minimizations about the security erase of temporary files. Okay, so you can see here there is some temporary control and documents should be erased or destroyed within specific or document periods. Also, and also down here you can see it's a implementation guidance, and there is more. You can see 8.5.10.12 is also annexed for privacy control. Like you will have some 8.10.3. You can see here about PII return, transfer, and disposal. Okay, so this one is about after the public cloud PII should have a policy in respect of return, transfer, or disposal of PII. And this one is should be make this policy available to cloud service customer. Okay, so whenever you are using some cloud service provider that have your PI, you should ask for this. So you should ask for this policy with respect to your PII. And also for some control about the geographic location of PII, there's some control about the public cloud PII should specify and document the country which PII can possibly store. So this one is belong to the legal protections. Okay, so there is a lot of countermeasure is based on the risk assessment of the cloud service provider. Okay, so what is the benefits? What are the benefits of the 27018 for the cloud service provider? Okay, so first, it will provide you a comprehensive privacy framework for cloud service provider who want to increase the assurance of the privacy compliance of the exact cloud service. And also, it will provide you extra assurance to customer that personal information processed in the cloud by cloud service provider is managed in a compliant manner. And also, of course, it have to reduce the risk privacy breach and fine from ICO. In the UK, there is an Information Commissioner Office ICO. Is about the cloud security. Okay, and also it's extend and expand the client for ISO 27001 certifications. Okay, of course, it's just like the 27018 is also extension on your certificate, and also it may be considered as appropriate alternative to ISO 27701. 27701 is another standard. It's also an extension of both 27701 and 27702. And this one is focused mainly on the privacy, on the PII, but it's not only on the cloud anymore. It's can be the PI in anywhere in the customer or maybe the provider is processed. So it's not only for the cloud service provider. It can be for any company that they have the PII and they want to claim to the customer that they have the 27 or 27 of 1701 is applied. Okay, so but whenever that you don't have the 27701 applied yet, then you can have the 27018 applied first, or maybe both. Okay, so when the client is already required external assurance for the cloud service provision of the Japanese business. Okay, so there is 25 benefit when you apply the 27018. Okay, so in summarize of control, so I have the picture here. So 27017 is a cloud service security. It has 33 and some extension control for both cloud service customer and cloud service provider, and also provide some new control here for customer and provider. And for the 27018 is the processor cloud privacy. Okay, so this is the PII for the PII processor on cloud service on cloud environment. So which give you some extension control, 16 of extension control based on the 2702 and provide new control related to security and privacy. Okay, and to summarize of control here, so let me see the ISO 27701. Okay, is the management system with the NSA containing 114 security control. ISO 27702 is a code of practice with implementation guidance on this 114 security control based on the NSA. Give you very detailed how you should implement this security control. Okay, and ISO 27017 is a code of practice with some guidance for cloud service customer and guidance for cloud service provider. Okay, and also it have an NSA with file control and guidance for both cloud service customer and for cloud service customer and server control for cloud service provider. Okay, so this one is additional to the 140 security control in the 2702 and 2701. Okay, and this can be inclusion in your SOA, right? And also for the ISO 27018, so this one is also code of practice with guidance of the 16 of from extension from 114 security control in the same 2702. Okay, and also it gives you Annex A with 25 control and guidance. Okay, so also this one is extension from 2702. So it should be considered as the addition to this one, 27 for the 140 control in 2702 and 2701 Annex A. So this one can be inclusion in the SOA 2. Okay, that is the summary of this two standard today. So I suppose we should have the 10 minutes break, and we will come back later.
Thank you, Mr. Ha. And because we are running on a very tight schedule today, so I think we will only have 5 minutes break. So we'll come back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
So during the time, maybe you have any questions, just put in the chat box, and I will have you explain later. Yeah.
You make sure that our energy is safe, also in the future.
You take care of healthy food for millions of people.
You ensure that we're safe on the road.
You are always there ahead of us and know exactly what works and what doesn't.
You know no boundaries and tread new paths.
For more than 140 years, we've been taking responsibility for today and tomorrow, every day around the world. How do we do that? We see to millions of warm living rooms and well-lit streets, so that you can be sure your home will remain a comfortable place. We secure the energy supplies of the future. Mankind needs more and more energy, but not at all costs. We want green energy to be an alternative for all. But also in the future, we will need safe conventional forms of energy, with greater efficiency and less emissions. The world is becoming increasingly complex. By means of ongoing education and training, we help others to face new challenges. We want people to be at the heart of everything. That is why we care about safe food, and make sure that there is a good feeling around the dining table. Our life is already exciting enough. When it comes to what we eat, we should be able to have confidence in the origin and quality of our food, so that it is not only mass but class that counts. We continuously carry out tests for healthy nutrition free from harmful substances. We have good relations with guardian angels. To ensure that mobility will remain safe, we look closely at all vehicles, whether car, truck, ship or train. With an objective outside viewpoint, we take responsibility for technology, the environment, and especially for humans. Our whole life is mobile, and that is a good thing, as long as it's safe. And environmentally friendly. We want to know how mobility will work in the future, and how new ideas will become suitable for everyday use. We love to set things in motion, so that both goods and people arrive at their destination safely. And we search for solutions for the metropolises of the future, to improve the infrastructure and reduce environmental impact. We are a midwife for the really big ideas. We are aware of the pitfalls and know what secrets are hidden deep inside the earth. Our specialists look far beyond the surface. This allows companies to operate successfully and sustainably. We are where you need us. Everywhere, both on and under the earth. We give a jump start to people to reach for the stars, so that technology doesn't put a spanner in the works when we want to learn from the universe. We make sure that information finds its way to us safely and reliably. Even if it goes all around the world. We search for tasks that challenge us and solutions that change our lives. And our curiosity remains. That is what drives us. For a safe future and a better world.
All right, thank you everyone for having a break and coming back from the break. So just want to hand over to Mr. Ha again for the second part of the webinar. Mr. Ha, please.
Hello, welcome back. We have a very short break due to the tricky time. Okay, so I will come back to my slide right away. So, okay, so I already explained to you the very briefly instruction about the 27018 and 27017. Okay, and all the summary about this control. Okay, next I will go to risk management in the cloud service. Okay, so what are you worrying about the cloud security? So that is the first question that I asked you in the beginning. Okay, some some people say that there's some worry about the configuration is wrong, or worry about the security in general. Okay, following the cloud security reports in the 2022, so 23% is worried about the wrongly configured on the resource account, or maybe 50% is worried about data and a file is shared by inappropriately by user. Like you keep your employees account on the Google Drive and access to some team driver without any restriction. So maybe they can share the file directly from your cloud environment to another without any control. Or maybe the account are compromised, like the account, the IAM account that need to access on the Amazon web service, or maybe access to your Microsoft Azure, or even Google Drive, has been noted to some documentations of the software development team, and it has been uploaded to the GitHub, to their personal GitHub, and it has been shared publicly. And somehow that account is compromised. It has been read by someone else, and your account is hacked, is changed the password. Okay, and also some there is some vulnerability is exploited by your system, because your cloud service provider, especially on the IaaS and PaaS. Okay, so mostly you, the customer, still have to check on the OS, have to manage the system, the server. Okay, so there's still some vulnerability risk can be happen to you. So the 14% of people worry about the vulnerability can be exploited, can be hacked from hacker. And also, there is the 20% things they should preventing a cloud misconfiguration, and 60% things that they should securing a major cloud app already in use, and 60% things that there's some reaching about regulatory compliance, and 30% there's certain things that to about the cloud security, they should perform some defending against the malware. Okay, so what kind of security you have already deployed for your cloud service environments? Like do you provide them the training, or maybe some BYOD policy, or maybe some mobile device encryptions? So is there any or maybe on Amazon they provide you the security some security feature, like you can create a firewall security group for your system, something like that? Or maybe how many of you here already set up your two-factor authentications for your cloud account? How many people here? So like the simple question, yes or no. Do you set up your two-factor authentications for your cloud account? Like you use a Google Authent, you use Microsoft Authent, or maybe you use any solution for the OTP. Like when you access some your cloud service with your password, then you will have to obtain the six random number as the second phase of your login. Okay, just which password is sometimes it's not enough. Okay, like for Google right now, it's apply to everyone's. Like whenever you enter the password, you log in your email on another system or very different system, like it's not your usual device. then they will give you some challenge, like you will have to enter the correct phone number that you registered to the Google, or maybe you have to open your device with your Google account login and hit to yes or no, or maybe hit to some random number. If you do it correctly, then you can log in. Otherwise, you cannot log in. So this is the extra protections from the cloud service provider, for example. Okay, so for the risks associated to cloud computing, say the two kinds of risks. First one is a policy and organization risk. So you can see here, there's for example, there is some lack of resource isolations. There's maybe some risks depend on lack of reputation isolations, or maybe some cross-cloud application creating hidden some dependencies, or maybe lack of information on justification, or maybe it's lack of completeness and transparency in the term of use, unclear role, responsibility, and even the lack of supplier redundancy. Like you put all the resource into some cloud service provider, and one day they got incidents like MSD Microsoft Teams, right? It's happening now in for the morning. So all your communication has been mute, have been stopped, and without any redundancies, you can quickly move to to another chat, another system like Telegram, maybe on Skype, or maybe your private communication in your organization when the MS team is down. Okay, so this one is Skype risk related to policy and organizations. And also there is some risk related to technical. You can see here some there is some maybe the communication accuracy is not safe, like there is no encryption between your email, end-to-end encryption, or maybe something some of your chat device, some chat network. Okay, or maybe there's a lack of or weak encryption on a kind and data in the chances. Like you send the report to your customer, or maybe you send the financial report to your boss, but you don't put any encryption, like you don't set the password to that report, or maybe you don't encrypt the file in somewhere. Okay, and you send it directly through the Telegram, or maybe through the Skype, MS Team, okay, or maybe through the email. Okay, the good way is that you should put the password to that file, and you send the file first, and you tell the recipient the password in a different way, maybe using SMS, using the another chat system, or maybe using just face-to-face. Tell you, okay, this password is, you can check your email and open it with the password. Okay, so it's been more secure. Or maybe some risks about the impossibility of the processing data in an encrypted form, and also about the key generation as a low entropy and for random number generation, and also about the risk about the misconfiguration. This one is the most worry about people. Okay, and also some risks related to the system or the OS vulnerability. Okay, maybe the OS is not up to date. For a lot of companies that I already audited. Okay, so IT is not upgrade their system regularly, because they believe, okay, the Linux Ubuntu is very secure. Yes, they are secure, but you have to keep updated your security package every day to make sure the OS is not vulnerable to the latest security. Okay, and also there's some risks about the application vulnerability, or maybe the poor patch management, as I just say, and some risks about the misconfigure the filtering resource. Okay, and we will have some risks related to the cloud computing following the ENISA, which is the European Network and the Information Security Agency. This one, they already identified the top 8 risks that related to the cloud service. Okay, first one is the loss of admin right. Second is the restriction on the data movement. So third one is difficult on isolated resource. Also some risks about the compliance, about the compromise of management interface, or maybe API, or maybe some data protection capability, and some risks about the erase or unsafe incompleteness of data, and risk about the harmful agent from within. Okay, so what is the loss of admin right, or maybe a loss of performance? So risk of loss of performance is this is when the cloud provider does not commit in the service agreement with you, with you as a customer, to do a task that need to be done. So it cannot be done by the consumer. For example, could be a security update of software that the cloud service provider run can cause the software to the full stop is what is required. It's not that in using a cloud service infrastructure, so the client is necessary to control from the cloud provider, cloud service provider, CSP, on the number of issues which might affect the security. So at the same time, the SLA, the service line agreements, service level agreement, might not offer the commitment to the provide such a service on the part of cloud service provider, thus leaving a gap to the security defense. Like for example, like you should be able to make a backup of your input data and get it out of the cloud service provider, but the cloud service provider is not allowed you to do that. Or maybe they allow you to backup, but it's not allowed you to download it. Yeah, I already have experience with some cloud service provider. It's not allowed me to do that. Okay, so you have to write the email supporting to them, ask them to do it. Okay, it's take a long time. And also there's some risk about the login, which is a restriction on the data movement. Okay, like you can see, there's a model here. Company use a single cloud for all the system, for the email, for the storage, for the CRM things, and another they use a multi-cloud. So email on the on the Gmail, for example, the CRM they use a Salesforce, the storage they use Amazon Web Service, Amazon S3. Okay, so between multi-cloud and single cloud, if people the company use a single cloud, then it might be says whenever you need to move to another cloud service provider, it might be difficult for you. Yeah, because there is a currently little of offer on the way of tool, the procedure, and some maybe some standard data format or service interface with the good quality data. Okay, so log into a particular provider is when the server is in you. This might be quite hard to move to different provider for similar service. Like you want to move your Salesforce data into another service like Sui CRM or Sugar CRM. Okay, so it might be difficult because the data structure is different. Okay, so it may take time for you to convert the data from Salesforce to Sui CRM or Sugar CRM, for example. For the infrastructure as a service, like it may be easier. Like you just need to back up your whole system, and you just copy it and redeploy on another system. But it will take you a lot of effort, a lot of time if you have a very big system, like all the system is linked together. Okay. So most people is kind of afraid or maybe locked in into a specific provider. Okay, so maybe the multi-cloud here is a new trend in recent years. So they separate the X of service in different cloud service provider. So that will be the good solution to mitigate the lock-in risk. Okay, and next one is about the isolation fail. We see there's the customer is on external characteristic of cloud computing. It can be lead to the risk of the isolation. So here is a two-way. So we can be the damage the data might leak from one consumer to another customer. Like the customer A can read the data on customer B. Customer B can read data on customer C, or they three customers have a different server, but they can see each other. They in the private network communication, or maybe because the cloud service is same resource pooling. They have 2 or 3 or maybe 10 kind of server, but that server is used by many users, many customers. Okay, so they unless if you use you pay a lot of money, so you can rent a private server, dedicated server is only can be used by you, so that can be the difference. Otherwise, if you use another free or maybe the cheap solution, then you may get the isolation fail. Okay, like the multi-tenancy or rare service is defining characteristic of cloud computing, right? But these three categories is covered a fail mechanism, like there is no separating or separate on the storage, no separate on the memory, routing, network, even the tenants. Okay, so there might be some consider as an attack on the resource isolation, like maybe like on a customer A, they have the system, but it's vulnerable to some CVEs, to some hacker. So it's been hacked. So when the hacker get into the customer A, because the isolation is not good on the cloud service provider, then that hacker can easily hack into the customer B, for example. So, or even like you can see one example is starving of tenant CPU. So another is hacking into the other tenants virtual machine. It's pretty hard, but some way it still can happen. Okay, so when the customer is hacking or maybe DDoS, they will consume a lot of resource. So the resource is not able to share to another customer B and C. Then customer B, C will be get affected. Okay. Or maybe there is a third example, like the leaking information on the Dropbox. It's happened a very long time ago. Like it's between the tenants, between the account. Yeah. Okay. And also there is some compliance risk related, like some investment of achieving a certificate. Okay, my put the risk in the cloud. Like you see, if the cloud service provider cannot provide the evidence that their own compliance to the relevant requirement, or if the service provider cannot permit, does not permit the audit by the cloud service customer. Okay, so it's maybe create a risk for you that you cannot make sure that the data is handled right, is handled in the right way in the service provider or not. Okay, so like a lot of cloud consumer need to demonstrate that the cloud service provider is care about their data properly, or for example, like it's because some credit card number. Okay, like if the cloud service provider have some another standard that can provide the protection to a credit card number or not. For example, PCI DNS is another standard, another system that for the protection of credit card number. Okay, so because a lot of cloud service providers, they provide the service to the bank account, to the banking system. They store, or maybe some shopping, website shopping. Okay, it may store the credit card number in the database in the cloud service provider. Okay, so customers should be worrying about the compliance risk related to the maybe credit card number. Okay, so it's just if the cloud provider doesn't help you with damages, then customer might have a trouble. Also, there is the management interface compromise, like if is which means there is some control over the cloud service provider. It's typically done through the maintenance interface, through you have the web interface with the login and password, or maybe you have the API, or maybe a different way to manage the system. Okay, so most of the system interface here is accessible over the internet. Okay, which means it might be exploited by the malicious agents, or maybe exploited by the hacker. Okay, so if the service provider is not secure the management interface, then you might get a trouble and for the customer. Okay, and also there's some risk about the data protection, some threat about the data protection, which means the cloud service computing possess the several data protection risks to their consumer and provider. Okay, in some case, this might be difficult for the customer. Okay, so it's very difficult to effectively check that the data is handling practice in the cloud service provider, just to be sure that the data is handled in a lawful way. So this problem can be exacerbated in the case of multiple transfer data between a federated cloud, or maybe on the other hand, some cloud provider do provide information on their data handling practice. So some also can offer the certification summary on their data processes and data security activity. Okay, so this one is similar to the compliance risk. Yeah, how to make sure that your data on the cloud service provider, on your service provider, is protected properly. Also, there is some risk related to the insecure or incomplete data deletions. Okay, so this should happen whenever you need to move to another cloud service provider. Okay, so you will request the cloud service provider delete a cloud resource that is made. Okay, as the OS, but this one may not result in a true wiping of data, because if you use a cloud service on some provider, you ask them to back up the system. Okay, then when you ask them to delete that data, yeah, maybe they just delete your machine, but the backup is not deleted. It has been copied to somewhere else because they have multiple hard drive. They have to make the copy of your backup to make sure the backup file is okay. The backup file is integrated and available when you need it. Okay, so there is the difficult that you can make sure that the cloud service provider already delete your data, already delete everything, even your OS, your backup, your archive information on the database. Okay, And somehow, even your PII, they collect the log file, they have some PI from you inside the database. So it's quite difficult to make sure that all that data has been deleted when you leave the service. Okay, so it can be caused to the risk to the insecure or incomplete data deletions. Also, there's some risks related to the malicious insider, which means this one is usually less likely, like the dam, which might be caused from malicious insider is often far greater, because in cloud architecture is a necessary certain role, which is extremely high ask. So example the cloud suite provide the system administrator is managed and security as you can see here, there is an example of the insider threat classified by the is classified. So you have the malicious insider and the inadvertent insider. So this one is from outside. This person is from outside, maybe maybe inside is like your employee. But this guy is not the normal person, normal employee. It can be access to email. Okay, so maybe they open the email that contain the virus, but you already have some countermeasures, and it can cause damage to you or not cause damage to you. But this one happened unintentional. It's not the intent. Okay, it's just done by mistake. But this guy is your IT guys, because many companies they have only one or two IT guys, and this guy have a lot of user account related to your IT system. Okay, so whenever if this guy have any disagree with you or with your company, or maybe and then in the mistake that they have some hacker use them, or maybe they download some file, some malicious virus file on the system, and this sadly on the system have a lot of informations, password, username, email, everything related to you. Then this guy can be the high risk. Okay, they can even destroy all your data. It's not recoverable, or maybe the hacker can be attacking from this guy laptop, the IT laptop, to hold your system. Okay, so to make sure that you should make sure the responsibility, the asset control should be done in the place. Okay. Okay, so that is a several risks related to the cloud computing that I'd like to share to you. Okay, then I will talk about the certifications. Okay, of the ISO 17 and 18 from TUBNOT. Okay, so to have the certification of the 17 and 18, first one, you must have the 2701 certificate first, and your ISMS has been implemented. Okay, then you can request us to do the extensions. If you already have the 2701 certified by the TUBNOT, then you can ask us for the extension to audit the 27017 or audit the 27018, both, or maybe both. Okay, and please make sure that your scope, the certification scope of the 2701 and the certification scope of the 2717 18 must be included in the 2701 certification scope. Okay, like if your scope is providing a software development and a cloud service and infrastructure as a service, then the scope related to infrastructure as a service is can be applied to the 27017 and 18. Okay, So the simple thing is you can send the inquiry to the sale, Mr. Snow here, and we can send you a proposal from TUMNOT, and we have a contract. Then we perform the audit step 1 on the document system review, and we audit the step 2 on the implementation effectiveness of the system. Okay. Then if there is no NC, no finding, everything is good, then you can have a certificate, and we perform the surveillance audit every year. So the whole thing here, one certificate will last for 3 years. Okay, and we keep continuing. Okay, so is there any we have the Miss Snow here is a sale from TUMNOT. So do you need to share anything?
Thank you, Mr. Ha. Yes, you have already covered. So today is just the introduction of the high-level process of ISMS certification with TUMNOT. So this doesn't only apply to Singapore, but this is the same for everywhere for TUMNOT subsidiary, be it in Vietnam or Indonesia or even Thailand, right? So if you would like to certify your 27001, then you can contact us. Our local TUMNOT sales teams will attend to you and your need. Yeah, so that's all I have. So, Mr. Ha, I also think this is the end of the webinar, right? No more content, right? So we have also covered the content of ISO 27017 and 18. So right now we open the floor for questions. So if you have questions pertaining to, the standard or the context that Mr. Ha has covered, please feel free, put in the chat box or raise your hand and ask the question, and we'll be happy to answer the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have any questions, just maybe you open your microphone or maybe you put to the chat box. Otherwise, feel free to ask me any question related. Okay. If ISO 27 by other CB or TUMNOT, they can send certified with the users. Well, if you have been certified with another CB, then you need to transfer your certificate to the TUMNOT. Then you can do it in the certificate in the RC audit certificate. Okay, in next 3 years. Okay, then we can give you both 27 or 17 and 18 together. Yeah. So please just come to TUMNOT, transfer the certificate to us. Yeah. So. Who say?
Any other questions from the audience? We still have about 3 minutes until we close the session. Okay, Mr. Ha, there's a question there.
It's not a processor. This one is related to the 27018. Okay, so as I say, the 27018 is for the public cloud. The title is for the public cloud that they use. The title is a code of practice protection PII in the public cloud that acting a PII processor. So it's not for every public cloud provider. It's only when you process the PII in your service to for the customer, right? For example, like if you are providing the software that help the customer analyze the log from the system, then it could contain the PII. Then 27018 is applied to you. Or if you contain the provide the service for you, how to say, allow people to scan the face, or maybe scan the document. Then scan not allow customer to scan the document, or even the EQIAC service, then it can contain your person, your PI, because it need to scan your face, your picture, your ID card. Then it can contain the PII. Then that service provider can apply the 27018. Okay. Otherwise, for another general company, they can apply the 27701 for the privacy control. That is applicable for everyone, for every company. So maybe we can have another seminar that talking about that.
Okay, I think we have questions, or we have time for one more questions. One last question from the floor. Okay, so we do not have any further questions. So I think this is the last question from me, Mr. Han. So, I mean, let's say for QMS, let's say for quality standard for ISO 9000 is a very fundamental standard. So, you know, if your company has 9000, so many of your clients or potential customer, they are rest assured that you have some sort of quality management in your firm. So where are we with this, you know, ISO 27000 and 27017 and 18, you know, how, I mean, because are the clients or the potential customers are demanding more and more of it, or at least what are your thoughts on these standards moving forward? So good question was to you, Mr. Ha. So I mean, it could just be your personal opinion, yeah.
Pardon? Can you pardon?
Oh, yeah, for example, for I mean 9001, if a company have 9001, the client can be ensured that they have quality management in place, they have quality, you know, policy and all that. But when it comes to this 27017 and 18, right, of course they are like extension from 27001, but I think the customers are not so familiar themselves as well with all these new, I mean, not so new, but somewhat new standards. So where do you see how these standards are you know, growing in the market, or yeah, it's just your personal opinion on these 27,000 group of standard?
Well, for the 27 set, following the ISO survey, has been increase of certifications in the recent year, because people is more and more take care about the ISO, about the security, for the security in general, or maybe cloud service, or even the privacy. Okay, so for the companies that already have the ISO 29000, then they can should find out about the 27001 first, because to get the 18 and 17, then you need to have the 27001 first. And also for the certifications that as I can see from all the companies that I have already audit, so most of them is the cloud service provider. So they need to get a certified on the 17 and 18 to tell the customer that the system is okay, is secure on the information. Okay, but if you are the user, of the cloud service, and so you can still check on the 27017 and apply some control measure without needing getting any certified. Okay, so it might be the good best practice for you, for your company, to make sure the security on the cloud service is okay for you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ha, for taking questions from me as well as from the participants. So with that, we have come to the end of the webinar. So before you log off, it's just a reminder, if you have not put in your details for the certificate of participation, please do so, because we will only issue certificate to those who registered in the link that we have given in the chat. It's a registration link for your attendance. So we'll only send to those who are in the list, because we see about 30 over participants here, but we have less than 30 in the Google form. So please, if you have not, please go to the link. Let me just reshare the link. Yeah. Please go to this link and put in your details so that we can give you certificate of participation. Yeah. So that's all we have for today. So have a pleasant day ahead, and we hope to see you in our next webinar. And of course, thanks so much, Mr. Ha, for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.